Hello, welcome back to RC Truth Media. Today I got a short video for you, and it has to do with the housing bubble crisis, dollar bubble crisis. Look, we're going nowhere with our currency, okay? And that's why everything's going up. Housing is going up, the rent, the PG&E is going up, and unless you're going to go solar, PG&E is going nowhere. It's just going to go up and up and up. And why is everything going up? Well, the currency. It's that simple. We need to do something about our currency in order to save everything else. That's why every sector is failing, because the dollar is nowhere near what it used to be before the Federal Reserve was created. I just seen something the other day. It was the Coney Island roller coaster when it first came out, 1860 something. It was 5 cents to ride that roller coaster. That same roller coaster today is $9.75. Okay, with that same roller coaster, okay, for the price today, back then when it first came out, you could ride it more. You could ride that roller coaster more than 170 times. It's somewhere around 180 times. Okay, so that's how much our currency has devalued, about 180 times less, because it's the same thing. Okay, the same goods or asset, which was riding that roller coaster, used to be 5 cents. Now that same roller coaster, $9.75. So anybody following me here will understand how much our currency has devalued. Okay, so I got an interesting article from Zero Hedge, and this is talking about what's happening. Affordability crisis. Low income workers can't afford a 2-bedroom rental anywhere in America. You know, this is very true. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment in California, Central California, and it's $900 a month for a 2-bedroom, one house here. Okay, I have 3 kids. When I first got in this apartment 4 years ago, it was $725. In 5 years, it has went up $175. The PG&E is about double what it was when I first got here. Okay, it used to be about similar, and we're running it the same, pretty much the same relatively. And this is how much just in the past 5 years our currency has devalued. Okay, so it's increasing very, very fast. Even though we may not notice it, it really has increased a lot. The devaluation of our currency in this past few years, and we're going to hit hyperinflation in this next few years for sure, and that's why we're seeing cryptocurrency getting as big as it is. Let's go ahead and read this article. The National Low Income Housing Coalition annual report, Out of Reach, reveals the striking gap between wages and the price of housing across the United States. The report's housing wage is an estimate of what a full-time worker on a state-by-state basis must make to afford a 1 or 2-bedroom rental home at the Housing and Urban Development fair market rent without exceeding 30% of income on housing expenses. With decades of declining wages and widening wealth inequality via the financialization of corporate America, and thanks to the Federal Reserve's disastrous policies, the recent insignificant countertrend in wage growth for low-income workers has not been enough to boost their standard of living. The report finds that a full-time minimum wage worker, or the average American stuck in the gig economy, can't afford to rent a 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in the United States. Let's scroll down and can show you a couple of interesting charts here. It says, according to the report, the 2018 national housing wage is $22.10 an hour for a 2-bedroom rental home. That's how much they need to make an hour in order to have a 2-bedroom rental house. And $17.90 for a 1-bedroom rental. Across the country, the 2-bedroom housing wage ranges from $13.84 in Arkansas and that's where it's the lowest in the country, to the highest in the country, which is in San Francisco, California. $60 you need to make an hour in order to afford a 2-bedroom house or a 2-bedroom rental home. And how many people make $60 an hour? You know, that's just ridiculous. For people earning a minimum wage, which could be most millennials stuck in the gig economy, the situation is beyond dire. At $7.25 per hour, these hopeless souls will need to work 122 hours per week, or approximately 3 full-time jobs, to afford a 2-bedroom rental at the Hud's Fair market rent. For a 1-bedroom, these individuals would need to work 99 hours per week, or hold at least 2 full-time jobs. The disturbing reality is that many will work until they die to only rent a roof over their head. The report warns, in no state, metropolitan area, or country can a worker earning the federal minimum wage or prevailing state minimum wage afford a 2-bedroom rental home at a fair market rent by working a standard 40-hour week. That's crazy. So, about 20 years ago, let's say, 1990s, my father, he had made about $100,000 a year, and my mother only made around $20,000 a year. Okay, which is about let's say I make around 20 now, and then my girl, she makes around 20. So they made around 3 times more than we make back then. But they were living on $120,000 a year was what my parents were making. They had a 3-bedroom house, okay, and it had a pool in the backyard, 2 bath. He had 2 brand new vehicles that they were making payments on. They both had credit cards, and they were living luxurious lives, going on trips all the time, just spending ridiculous amounts of money. Now, that same exact house, making the same amount of money, they no longer can afford to do anything. Okay, barely paying their rent, paying all their bills, and it's really not the same as it was 20 years ago. Not even close. Okay, even in the last 5 years, we've seen a huge devaluation in the currency. It says here, the quest to afford rental home is not limited to minimum wage workers. NLIHC calculates that the average renter's hourly wage is $16.88. The average renter in each county across the U.S. makes enough to afford a 2-bedroom in only 11% of the counties, and a 1-bedroom in just 43%. Figure 1 states with the largest shortfall between average renter wage and a 2-bedroom housing wage. Low wages and widespread wage inequality contribute to the widening gap between that people earn and mandatory outlays in the price of their housing. The national housing wage in 2018 is $22.10 for a 2-bedroom rental home and $17.90 for a 1-bedroom rental, the report found. Figure 3 shows hourly wages by percentile versus 1- and 2-bedroom housing wages. Okay, so the 10th percentile, 20th percentile, all the way up. You could see this. They have another interesting one down here. Here is how much it costs to rent a 2-bedroom in your state. Let me click on this and let you guys check this out. So in California, it's $32.68 on average to rent a 2-bedroom house. Okay, how many people make $32.68 per hour? I know I don't. You know, I might make around that per hour, but I don't work 40 hours per week. I only work about 15 hours per week, and that's because I own my own small business doing windshield repair. And I don't get that much. I wish I got 40 hours a week worth of work, but unfortunately I don't. You know, as we see the cheapest place to live would be Puerto Rico, and it's $9.24 an hour. Okay, when you go over to the East Coast, you see New York, $30 an hour, one of the more expensive areas, along with California. Pretty much California and New York are going to be the 2 highest places to live besides Hawaii. It shows it right here. Hawaii, $36 an hour. Okay, so let's go on to another chart to show you. And this is Case-Shiller house prices have continued to surge to bubble levels with growing demand for rental housing in the decade. What this is showing is housing prices in the past 10 years. And like I was telling you, my grandfather Well, I don't think I had told you this story yet, but my grandfather, he bought a house in 2008 when the financial crisis hit, and he bought his house for 120,000. Okay, that same house today is worth $290,000. So it's more than double the price since he's bought it. Okay, so it says Case Thriller housing prices, bubble 2.0 or not. It's time to lever up the sector again. Get ready for the next generation. Non FICO score driven risk underwriting, non aggregated pricing, and HELOC mania. Yeah, check this out. Okay, so we had in 2008, that's when my grandfather bought his house, which was right here, was at a great price. He bought it for 120,000, and today his is worth $290,000. Okay, so right now is not a good time to buy the houses, and I don't think we're gonna get back down here until we get switch over to a new currency. So right now, unless you find a great deal somewhere like on a foreclosure or something, it's not a good time to really buy anywhere, as we can see from this chart here. And what does that tell you about our economy? What does that tell you about, our money system? The mainstream media wants you to believe that our economy is doing great, that the dollar is doing great, but they don't really talk about the dollar too much. Okay, now we are actually at the last leg of the dollar, and as you can see from these charts here, the economy isn't doing as good as they would like us to believe. So what's the answer? Well, it's not go and save your retirement in dollars, that's for sure, because we don't have much time left before we go into the new crypto-based system. And Bitcoin, there's a lot of negative about Bitcoin, but one positive thing I could say is it's not going anywhere. Cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere. And Bitcoin is attached to all the other cryptos. When Bitcoin moves, all the other cryptocurrencies move. Right now, Bitcoin's at a great price. It's around 6,200. Great time to buy. Okay, I know one thing for sure: the dollar is going to go down in its devaluation and its worth, and it's not going to go do any better than what it has in the past. It's just going to fall from here, and we are very close to hyperinflation. So go ahead and get you some cryptocurrencies. My three favorite are going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And then get you some gold. Gold has been a great store of value for thousands of years. Silver, obviously, also a great trade with, but it's a lot in weight. It's kind of bulky, but it's a good holder of your wealth. A lot better than the dollar, that's for sure. Thanks. I hope you got something out of coming to my channel today. Please like and subscribe. I'll go ahead and leave a link below. Thanks a lot, and you have a great day.